Alright, so going on to chapter 2. Um, let's just really quickly summarize what we talked about in the first one, which is the basic rotation. Fairy Fire, Bangle, Savage Roar, Rake, Tiger's Fury, Shred, Shred, and then once you hit 5 combo points, while keeping up, like as soon as Rake falls off, we're going to put Rake back on, but once we get to 5 combo points, we're going to Rip, and we're going to Shred, and Rake, if we need to refresh it, until we get, say, 3 or 4 combo points, and we notice that Savage Roar is going to fall off soon. We refresh Savage Roar, and anytime Tiger's Fury is available, we're going to use it, and we're just going to keep everything up. So let's just do that one more time. Just kind of waiting here. A rip. I probably have time to do one more shred before I have a Savage Roar. Roar. Break. Waiting. Ah, this sucks. This sucks. Okay, I'll just refresh it. So I just gave a quick Savage Roar there. I'm gonna have to refresh it here, so let's just go ahead and do that. So that it'll be up for sure when next time I have to... Then I'll have 5 combo points for Rip. I have to Mangle. Little Scuffed. Okay, that was maybe a little... I should have Savage Roared a little bit earlier. If I crit here, it's okay. I didn't crit, that sucks. So basically, I kind of like look to Savage Roar whenever I see that Rip has like 10 seconds left, roughly. If I Savage Roar, I guess I had 12 seconds left. That's good. Good. So, and you can see that doing this, I'm getting 4.2k. And now it's gonna be like RNG based on how many Omen of Clarities you get. Savage Roar, because it's had 12 seconds left on Rip. That was like a ridiculous number of Savage Rips, of Omen of Clarities, I mean. Went ahead and refreshed my Savage Roar just because I could. That was actually really bad. I should not have done that. I'm gonna have to refresh it one more time here. Like emergency measures. Just screwed that up. Luckily I got saved by an Omen of Clarity. You do want to refresh it if you realize you're fucked up. Right? Like you do, and so I'll do it here. That's pretty much it. Like, you're just cruising. You're keeping everything up. You're waiting if you have to wait. Sometimes you just have to wait. You're hitting your target's fury when it's up. And I can see everything really nicely here. Rip one more time before I Savage Roar there. Or Shred one more time, I should say. So here this is awkward. Oh, I should not have shredded there. It's okay though. Yeah. Alright, so you can see I'm hitting like 4.3k. Just doing that sort of basic rotation. But, so this is what you want to practice, like over and over and over. It needs to be drilled into your head. Like, it should be like second nature to be keeping track of all 5 of these things. Angle is up, rake is up, red is up, or sorry, rip is up, Savage Roar is up, and if Tiger's Fury is available, you're using it. Second nature. It's gotta be. So I almost want to just like end it there because that's like a really like condensed version of like what you need to be practicing over and over and over again. When that becomes second nature, then you want to start thinking about how to make it a little more complex. And the first thing you can do to make it more complex is to do... Honestly, okay, it branches, okay? It branches like this. You have flower weaving, what I'll call flower weaving, and then there's bear weaving. Okay, so let's talk about flower weaving first. Flower weaving I think is maybe a little easier. So flower weaving is something that mainly applies to 25-man raids. And it's called flower weaving because we are going to be casting Gift of the Wild using Wild Spine Leaf. That's why I have like 140 of these, not just so I can actually buff the group, but because I am going to use this to increase my damage. So how does this work? So, Omen of Clarity. Each of the druid's damage spells, healing spells, and auto attacks has a chance of causing the caster to enter a clear casting state. The clear casting state reduces the mana, rage, or energy cost of your next damage, healing spell, or offensive ability by 100%. So it's a free spell. Of course, you know what it does. Clear casting. And clear casting means that you can shred for free, and it's happening all the time while you're in cat form only. But the probability of getting clear casting is fixed. Like, let's say it's 3%. Okay, let's say that the probability of proccing Omen of Clarity on any attack is 3%. So for some weird reason, maybe it's a bug, I don't know, Gift of the Wild, since it hits 25 people at once, since it hits everyone in your raid, it gives you 25 times the probability of getting clear casting. So in a 25-man raid, let's say, again, let's assume that Omen of Clarity was a 3% chance. 25 times 3 is 75%. So now you have a 75% chance of getting a clear casting state when you cast Gift of the Wild. Gift of the Wild does cost 1,118 mana, and then you have to cast Cat Form afterwards, which costs only 122 mana, but whatever. So it does cost mana, but when you are in your rotation and you come to the point when you have no mana, or sorry, no energy left, so let's get into it. Okay, you shift out, and then you cast Gift of the Wild, and then you hope you get clear casting, and you go back into cat form. This is called flower weaving. I shouldn't have threaded there. So now I have no mana, Gift of the Wild, go back in. right? So I'm not getting it right now because I'm only one person, and I'm not in a 25-man raid. I am not getting the clear casting state. I'm not proccing Omen of Clarity. But in a 25-man raid, pretty much every time you cast, and again, I think it's literally like 75% of the time when you cast Gift of the Wild and it hits everyone in your party, you're going to get clear casting. And that's huge because that's another shred. So once that basic rotation is like drilled into your brain, you can start mixing that in, which means anytime you have no energy and no Tiger's Fury, everything else is good. You switch to caster form, you cast Gift of the Wild, you go back into cat form, you shred, you repeat, or whatever you need to apply, whether it's shred or rake or whatever. Usually when you have clear casting, you want to shred, because shred costs the most. So rake is... Rake is 35, rip is 30, rip is the cheapest, shred is 42, and mangle I think is 40. Yeah. So, and Savage Roar is 25. Actually, Savage Roar is the least, then rip, then rake, then mangle, then shred. So since shred costs 42 energy, that's what you want to be spending your clear casting on, if possible. But it's okay, it's not a big deal, you know. The difference between even 25 and 42 energy is only 17 energy. It's not that much. But the point is that you get a free cast, and so this is really good. And where it gets really, really good is if you fuck up and your rip expires when you have very few combo points. So if I'm in my rotation and I notice, oh shit, my rip expired and I only have 2 combo points and I really need to get 5 combo points. In that case, I will definitely swap out, cast Gift of the Wild, and then try to get a clear casting, go back in, and try to get up to 5 combo points as fast as possible and rip. Like, it's kind of like a little cheat that you can apply. So flower weaving is very optimal. It arguably is the best. Like, it's what you should be doing for any fights that are relatively short. There are a couple downsides. So if you're in a raid composition where you are the only person that has a leader of the pack effect, increase range and melee critical chance by 5%, then when you go back to caster form to cast Gift of the Wild, all your homies, your rogues and your warriors that might be benefiting from that or whatever, hunters, they are going to not get leader of the pack anymore. So that's decreasing raid damage just so you can get a little more personal damage, which is not really what you want to be doing. However, if you have a Fury Warrior, the Fury Warrior has a buff that's basically the exact same thing as Leader of the Pack. They don't stack, unfortunately, so only one can be active at a given time. So if you have that Fury Warrior, they're not going to be power shifting or doing anything weird. They're going to be constantly applying that. So in that case, you don't need to worry about it. You can flower weave as much as you want. But again, like, even if you're in the situation where you're the only person in the raid with Leader of the Pack, then you should really only use it in a situation when you need those combo points to get your rip back up. I think then it becomes like worth it. And if you're smart, you won't really need that, but it becomes really worth it. Another situation where this becomes good is when you're doing AoE. So the AoE rotation is, in my opinion, it's Mangle, Rake, Savage Roar, and then you start shredding. So you're gonna run out of energy like immediately when you're shredding, because every shred costs, or sorry, swipe. Every swipe costs 45 energy, which is actually even more than shred. You're gonna run out of energy really fast. So then you pop out, Gift of the Wild, go back in, and start shredding. Pop out, Gift of the Wild, pop back in, and shred until you run out of until you're about to run out of your Savage Roar. In which case you probably want to maybe Rake one more time and refresh your Savage Roar and keep going. It depends on how big the pack is, how long it's going to take. but that's the rotation for AoE. And so flower weaving is like really optimal because swipe costs so much energy. So that's flower weaving. That's chapter 2. You really only want to be worrying about flower weaving once you have the rotation down, right? Because it's complicated enough keeping everything up and planning that you don't need to be thinking about, oh, like I need to pop out and flower weave. That being said, flower weaving is really good. Another downside is you can't really practice flower weaving on a target dummy because you're not going to be proccing Omen of Clarity. You can really only practice it during raid. So take that opportunity during raid to consider practicing it. It's really good. And another thing you could do is on the pull. So there's a pull timer, right? You're about to start the boss. 5, 4, you want to get to the wild, get your clear cast, and then shift into cat form. Start the fight. Now you have 1 free cast off the start of your fight. That's going to change what you do in the very beginning. Like, take off. Let me see if I can get cast. There you go. Okay. Now I kind of basically guarantee myself a rip there. If I get bad RNG and I don't get a crit. Roar. Break. Just chilling and waiting. Break. Savage Roar. Alright, now we're chilling. We're big chilling. So again, I would be popping out, I would be flower weaving if I was in a raid. But since I'm not in a raid, just doing this target dummy, and I really want to like make sure I get this rotation perfect without making any mistakes. Ooh, that was awkward. I think that worked out just because of Omen of Clarity. I probably should have refreshed Mangle earlier. Notably, Savage Roar does not use your clear cast. Kind of bizarre. You would think it might do that, but it doesn't. All the other abilities do. Okay, so that's basically I wanted to reiterate and focus, like without explaining every ability in like gross detail, I wanted to just go through the rotation one more time and then introduce this concept that when you have no energy, right? You ran out of energy, you're just sitting there auto-attacking. You feel like a fucking idiot, right? This sucks. So you really want to have a plan for what you're going to do there. And one of the things you could be doing is shifting out, casting Gift of the Wild, popping back in. And that's called flower weaving. Now the other thing you could be doing is bear weaving, but we won't cover that in this one. I'll cover that in the next one.